The young Sele student's jaws hung slack in horror, as its slender blue fingers frantically scrolled through the nightmarish images, vids and data logs detailing the inhospitable hellhole humans called Earth. A planet that should be barren, uninhabitable, devoid of life, but was instead overrun by billions of the most tenacious, vicious and deadly predators the galaxy had ever seen. Humans. An involuntary shudder rippled down its serpentine tail as the student's luminescent eyes flicked to its classmates, huddled around other data terminals, seeing similar expressions of shock and revulsion twisting their alien features. Professor Xyloth, the wrinkled Gylo historian whose pioneering research into Deathworld civilizations was legendary, watched the students with a knowing gaze. He had fought to make this field trip happen for years, despite protests from the university's board of directors and even the Galactic Council. As disturbing and graphic as this data is, it merely scratches the surface of the horrors Earth contains. Xyloth wheezed through his rebreather mask in a voice like crunching gravel. And why its inhabitants are the most formidable organic weapons of war this galaxy has ever... Professor Xyloth! A panicked voice cut through the lecture as a wide-eyed Kairos burst into the archives. The Council needs you immediately. There's been an incident involving rogue humans. Xyloth stiffened. The day he had been preparing for had finally come. The day he prayed would never arrive. The fragile peace between humanity and the Galactic Council was about to be shattered in the most violent way imaginable, and trillions of innocent lives across the cosmos were now at risk of being snuffed out. All because the Council, in their infinite wisdom, had poked the Deathworld hornet's nest. Wayne's fingers danced across the stealth ship's controls as the uncharted planet loomed before them, its surface a swirling kaleidoscope of vibrant colors. Suddenly the radar lit up with multiple hostile contacts. "Vorth vessels incoming!" Wayne yelled, yanking the ship into a sharp dive. "Evasive maneuvers, now!" The ship shuddered as energy blasts slammed into its shields. Wayne gritted his teeth, pushing the engines to their limit. The Vorth ships were fast, but Wayne was faster. He wove through the barrage of fire, his reflexes honed by years of combat training. With a final daring corkscrew maneuver, Wayne managed to evade the attackers and plunge into the planet's atmosphere. But their luck didn't hold. A stray blast caught the ship's rear thruster, sending them spiraling towards the surface. "Brace for impact!" Wayne roared, fighting to keep the ship steady. They hit the ground hard, skidding through the dense undergrowth before coming to a smoking halt. Wayne kicked open the crumpled hatch, his blaster at the ready. The air was thick with the cloying scent of rotting vegetation, and strange bioluminescent plants cast an eerie glow across the jungle. "Everyone okay?" he asked, helping his Sele teammates from the wreckage. They nodded, their eyes wide with fear. "And we need to keep moving," Wayne said, checking the coordinates of Dr. Zorn's base. "Stay close and stay alert. We don't know what kind of creatures are lurking out here." As if on cue, a bone-chilling howl echoed through the trees. Wayne whirled around, his blaster raised. Glowing eyes peered at them from the shadows, and the undergrowth rustled with movement. Suddenly, a pack of predators burst from the foliage, their razor-sharp claws and venomous fangs glinting in the dim light. Wayne's mind raced, his survival instincts kicking into high gear. He'd faced similar creatures in Earth's harshest environments, and he knew that they needed to act fast. "Zix! Kral! Flank left!" he barked, gesturing to his teammates. "Lure them towards those rocks. I'll set up a trap." As the Sele moved into position, Wayne darted towards a tangle of vines, his fingers deftly weaving them into a crude snare. The predators snarled, their eyes locked on their prey. Wayne took a deep breath, steadying his aim. Then, with a burst of speed, he lunged forward, drawing the creature's attention. The predators charged, their claws tearing at the earth. Wayne waited until the last possible second, then dove to the side, triggering the snare. The vines whipped around the lead predator's legs, sending it tumbling to the ground. Wayne rolled to his feet, his blaster spitting plasma bolts into the creature's skull. The rest of the pack hesitated, their eyes darting between Wayne and their fallen leader. Wayne didn't give them a chance to regroup. He moved like lightning, his blaster finding its mark with each shot. In a matter of seconds, the predators lay dead at his feet, their lifeless eyes staring up at the canopy. The Selay emerged from their cover, their expressions a mix of awe and fear. "How did you—" Zix began, but Wayne cut him off with a sharp gesture. "We need to keep moving," he said, reloading his blaster. "Zorn's base can't be far." As they pressed deeper into the jungle, the terrain grew more treacherous. Twisted roots and jagged rocks threatened to trip them at every turn, and the air grew thick with the hum of insects. Suddenly, Kral let out a startled gasp. "Look," he said, pointing to a clearing ahead. In the center of the clearing lay the wreckage of a long-lost Selay expedition. The ships were little more than rusted hulks, their hulls overgrown with creeping vines. Wayne approached cautiously, his blaster at the ready. As he picked his way through the scattered remains, a glint of metal caught his eye. He bent down, brushing aside a tangle of vines to reveal a battered journal. The pages were yellowed with age, but the writing was still legible. Wayne's eyes widened as he scanned the entries, his heart pounding in his chest. "The Vorth," he said, his voice tight with anger. "They funded this expedition to study the planet's biosphere. They wanted to weaponize the organisms here." Zix and Kral exchanged a worried glance. "Dr. Zorn's bioweapon," Zix said, his voice trembling. "It must be even more dangerous than we thought." Wayne nodded grimly, tucking the journal into his pack. "We need to find Zorn and shut this thing down before it's too late." As they approached the base's coordinates, the jungle gave way to a clearing bristling with defenses. Energy barriers crackled ominously, and the twisted shapes of Selay loyalists patrolled the perimeter, their weapons at the ready. Wayne signaled for his team to take cover, his mind racing with possibilities. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they had the element of surprise. He scanned the defenses, looking for a weakness. There, near the base of the energy barrier, a small gap in the patrols. "Zix, Kral, lay down covering fire," he whispered, unslinging his rifle. "I'll breach the perimeter and take out the generator. Once the barrier's down, we move in hard and fast." The Selay nodded, their faces grim with determination. Wayne took a deep breath, centering himself. Then, with a burst of speed, he sprinted towards the barrier, his rifle spitting plasma at the startled guards. The Loyalists returned fire, their energy weapons scorching the earth around Wayne's feet. He jinked left, then right, his reflexes keeping him one step ahead of the barrage. With a final, desperate lunge, he reached the generator and slapped a plasma charge onto its humming surface. The charge detonated with a blinding flash, and the energy barrier flickered and died. Wayne's team surged forward, their weapons blazing. The Loyalists fell back, their ranks thrown into chaos by the sudden assault. Wayne led the charge, his rifle finding its mark with each shot. They breached the base's perimeter, the alarms blaring in their ears. "Spread out and find Zorn," Wayne yelled, ducking behind a crate as a hail of energy bolts sizzled overhead. "We need to end this now." But as they pushed deeper into the base, Wayne couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The Loyalists seemed to be falling back too easily, their resistance crumbling at every turn. It was almost as if they were being led into a trap. Suddenly a figure stepped out from the shadows, a cruel smile twisting his features. Wayne's eyes widened in recognition. It was Zorn's Vorth operative, the one who had infiltrated their team, and in his hand he held a glowing vial of the deadly bioweapon. "You're too late," the operative sneered, his finger hovering over the vial's release mechanism. "The Vorth will have their weapon, and there's nothing you can do to stop us." Without warning, Wayne slammed his fist down on the console, sealing the blast doors. He turned to face Karos, his skin slick with sweat and his eyes fever-bright. "Karos, listen to me," Wayne rasped, his voice strained. "You need to get the team out of here now. I'll take care of the bioweapon." "No, Wayne, I'm not leaving you behind," Karos shouted, pounding on the sealed doors. "You have to," Wayne said, his breath coming in short, painful gasps. "I'm infected, Karos. I can feel it spreading through me. There's no time." Karos stared at his friend, his heart wrenching. He knew Wayne was right, but every fiber of his being screamed to stay, to find another way. "I'll come back for you," Karos vowed, his voice cracking. "I promise." Wayne managed a weak smile. "I know you will. Now go before it's too late." With one last anguished look, Karos turned and sprinted down the corridor, rounding up the remaining team members. They raced through the base, alarms blaring and the ground shaking beneath their feet. As they neared the stealth ship, Zix let out a gasp. "Voth ships incoming!" Karos looked up, his heart sinking. A massive fleet of Voth vessels had entered the planet's orbit, their weapons primed and ready. "They're here to cleanse the planet," Karos realized, his mind racing. "They want to erase any evidence of their involvement." The team scrambled aboard the damaged ship, frantically working to repair the critical systems. Karos took the helm, his hands flying over the controls. With a shuddering roar, the ship lifted off, narrowly evading the Vorth's opening salvo. Karos pushed the engines to their limit, the hull groaning under the strain. But the Vorth ships were faster, their weapons tearing through the ship's weakened shields. Karos gritted his teeth, desperately trying to evade their pursuers. Suddenly, a blinding flash lit up the sky behind them. Karos whirled around, his eyes widening. A massive explosion had engulfed the base, the shockwave rippling outwards and slamming into the Vorth fleet. "Wayne," Karos whispered, realizing what his friend had done. In a final act of defiance, Wayne had overridden the base's security systems, triggering a self-destruct sequence. The explosion tore through the Vorth ships, scattering their formation and buying Karos and the team precious seconds. With a final burst of speed, they broke through the planet's atmosphere, leaving the chaos behind. As they hurtled through space, Karos slumped back in his seat, exhaustion and grief washing over him. He had lost his best friend, but he knew that Wayne's sacrifice had not been in vain. Back on the Galactic Council space station, Karos stood before the councillors, his head held high. He recounted the mission's events, his voice steady despite the pain in his heart. "Wayne gave his life to stop the Vorth's plan," Karos said, his eyes blazing with determination. "He was a hero, and we cannot let his sacrifice be forgotten." The councillors listened intently, their expressions grim. They knew that the Vorth's treachery could not go unanswered. "The Vorth must be brought to justice," the High Councillor declared, her voice ringing through the chamber. "We will dispatch a coalition of our best forces to confront them and end their reign of terror." Karos nodded, his resolve hardening. He knew that the road ahead would be long and dangerous, but he was ready to face whatever challenges lay before him. As he turned to leave, a chime sounded from his communicator. Karos frowned, activating the device. A cryptic message scrolled across the screen, the sender unknown. "Wayne alive, bioweapon different in humans, find truth." Karos stared at the message, his heart pounding. Could it be true? Could Wayne have somehow survived the base's destruction? He clenched his fists, a new sense of purpose surging through him. He would find the truth, no matter the cost. He owed it to Wayne, and to the countless lives hanging in the balance. The galaxy stood on the precipice of war, but Karos would not rest until he had unraveled the mystery surrounding the bioweapon and uncovered the full extent of the Vorth's machinations. For now he had a new mission, one that would take him to the very edges of known space and beyond, and he would not fail. Karos's hands trembled as he input the coordinates into his ship's navigation system. The cryptic message's words seared into his mind. Could Wayne really be alive? The thought seemed impossible, but Karos knew he had to find out. He owed it to his friend. The journey to the uncharted system was fraught with danger. Karos navigated through treacherous asteroid fields and evaded Vorth patrols, his skills honed by years of training and experience. As he approached the hidden research facility, Karos's heart pounded in his chest. He knew that whatever awaited him inside would change everything. Infiltrating the facility was no easy task, but Karos was determined. He moved silently through the dimly lit corridors, taking out Vorth guards with precise strikes and well-placed shots. Finally, he reached the central laboratory, where he found Wayne strapped to an examination table, his body writhing in agony. "Wayne!" Karos rushed to his friend's side, his eyes widening in horror as he took in the sight of Wayne's mutated form. The bioweapon had changed him, transforming his once human features into something twisted and alien. Wayne's eyes snapped open, but there was no recognition in their depths. With a roar of rage, he tore free from his restraints and lunged at Karos, his newfound strength fueled by the bioweapon coursing through his veins. Karos fought back, his heart breaking with every blow. He knew that the man he faced was no longer the friend he once knew, but a creature consumed by pain and instability. Their battle was brutal, each strike laced with the weight of their shared history and the knowledge of what was at stake. In the end, Karos managed to subdue Wayne, but not without sustaining fatal injuries himself. As he lay on the cold floor of the laboratory, his life ebbing away, Karos reached out to his friend one last time. "Wayne," he gasped, his voice barely above a whisper. "You're a hero, Wayne. You always have been. Don't let the Vorth take that away from you." Something stirred in Wayne's eyes, a flicker of the man he once was. He staggered back, his hands clutching at his head as he fought against the bioweapon's influence. In that moment, Karos saw his friend again, the brave soldier who had sacrificed everything to protect the galaxy. With a final agonized cry, Wayne regained control of his mind. He looked down at Karos, his eyes filled with a mixture of sorrow and determination. "I won't let them win, Karos. I promise." Leaving Karos's body behind, Wayne set out to infiltrate the Vorth's main command ship. His new abilities made him a formidable foe, and he tore through the ship's defenses like a force of nature. Vorth soldiers fell before him, their weapons useless against his enhanced strength and speed. Finally, Wayne reached the command bridge where the Vorth leader awaited him. The two clashed in a battle that shook the very foundations of the ship, but Wayne's determination and newfound powers proved too much for the Vorth leader to overcome. As the leader lay defeated at his feet, Wayne accessed the ship's communication systems and broadcasted a message to the entire galaxy, revealing the truth about the bioweapon and the Vorth's insidious plans. The galaxy listened in stunned silence as Wayne laid bare the extent of the Vorth's treachery and the sacrifices made by those who fought against them. With his message delivered, Wayne knew what he had to do. He overloaded the ship's reactor core, setting off a chain reaction that would destroy the Vorth's command structure and cripple their military might. As the ship exploded around him, Wayne closed his eyes, at peace with his decision. The Allied forces, emboldened by Wayne's sacrifice, launched a devastating counterattack against the Vorth. Without their leadership and with their secret bioweapon exposed, the Vorth crumbled under the onslaught. The galaxy, united in purpose, drove the Vorth back to the farthest reaches of space, ending their reign of terror once and for all. In the aftermath of the war, Wayne was hailed as a hero by the galaxy, his name spoken with reverence and awe. But for Wayne, the victory was bittersweet. The bioweapon's effects still lingered within him, a constant reminder of the price he had paid for his actions. Knowing that he could never truly be a part of the galaxy he had fought so hard to protect, Wayne exiled himself to the far reaches of space. He watched from afar as the Galactic Council, inspired by the sacrifices made by Wayne and Karos, established a new order dedicated to preventing such atrocities from ever happening again. As the galaxy began to heal, Wayne remained vigilant, forever changed by his experiences but ready to defend the innocent from any future threats. He had become a silent guardian, a watchful protector, ready to answer the call of duty whenever the galaxy needed him. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.